Welcome to the Daily Globe. The announcement didn't come with fireworks or dramatic speeches, but its impact is already echoing across global markets. Canada has just secured a massive lithium partnership with Japan, and while it may sound like another routine economic deal on the surface, the deeper implications suggest something much bigger is underway, a quiet but powerful shift in the balance of global energy and technology supply chains. For years, lithium has been called the new oil, and for good reason. It is the backbone of modern battery technology, powering everything from electric vehicles to smartphones, renewable energy storage systems, and even advanced defense applications. As the world accelerates toward electrification, the demand for lithium has surged at a pace few predicted a decade ago. Countries that control its supply are no longer just resource exporters. They are becoming strategic power centers. Canada has long been known for its vast natural resources, but lithium is now taking center stage. Beneath its rugged landscapes lie some of the most promising untapped lithium reserves in the world. What's changed recently is not just the discovery of these resources, but the urgency with which global players are moving to secure access to them. And Japan, facing its own critical supply challenges, has moved decisively. Japan's interest in lithium is driven by necessity. As one of the world's leading manufacturers of automobiles and advanced electronics, it sits at the heart of the global battery supply chain. Companies across Japan have invested heavily in electric vehicle production and battery innovation, but they have historically depended on imported raw materials. This dependency has become a strategic vulnerability, especially as geopolitical tensions and supply chain disruptions have exposed how fragile global sourcing can be. That's where Canada enters the picture, not just as a supplier, but as a stable, politically aligned partner. The partnership between the two nations is not simply about mining lithium, it's about building an integrated, secure, and future-proof supply chain. This includes everything from extraction and processing to battery production and technological collaboration. What makes this deal particularly significant is its timing. The global race for critical minerals is intensifying. Countries are no longer content with buying resources on the open market. Instead, they are forming long-term partnerships, investing directly in mining operations, and even reshaping trade policies to secure access. Canada's agreement with Japan is a textbook example of this new strategy in action. Behind the scenes, this partnership involves billions in investment, infrastructure development, and technological exchange. Japanese firms are expected to play a major role in financing and developing lithium projects in Canada, bringing with them advanced extraction and processing technologies. In return, Canada gains not only a guaranteed buyer, but also access to cutting-edge expertise that can help it move up the value chain. This is crucial because raw lithium on its own is only part of the equation. The real value lies in refining it into battery-grade materials and integrating it into manufacturing processes. By collaborating with Japan, Canada is positioning itself not just as a resource exporter, but as a key player in the global battery ecosystem. The ripple effects of this partnership are already being felt. Markets are reacting, investors are paying attention, and other countries are reassessing their own strategies. Nations that once dominated lithium production are now facing increased competition, while those that relied heavily on imports are scrambling to secure their own deals. There's also a broader geopolitical dimension to consider. This partnership signals a shift away from traditional supply chains that have been heavily concentrated in a few regions. By strengthening ties between Canada and Japan, both countries are contributing to a more diversified and resilient global network. This reduces the risk of disruptions and gives them greater control over critical resources. At the same time, it sends a message to other major players. The era of passive resource trading is over. Strategic alliances are becoming the new norm, and countries that fail to adapt may find themselves left behind. Canada's move is not just about economic gain. It's about positioning itself as a leader in the energy transition. For Japan, the benefits are equally profound. Securing a stable lithium supply ensures that its industries can continue to innovate and compete in a rapidly changing world. It also strengthens its energy security, reducing reliance on less predictable sources. In a time when global competition is intensifying, this kind of stability is invaluable. But the story doesn't end there. This partnership is likely to trigger a cascade of similar agreements around the world. Other nations rich in critical minerals may seek to replicate Canada's approach, while countries with advanced manufacturing capabilities will look for reliable partners. The result could be a complete reshaping of the global economic landscape. There's also an environmental angle that cannot be ignored. As demand for lithium grows, so does the need for sustainable extraction and processing methods. Canada, known for its environmental standards, has an opportunity to set a new benchmark. By working with Japan, which has its own strong focus on efficiency and innovation, the partnership could lead to cleaner, more responsible practices. This is particularly important as public scrutiny of mining operations increases. Communities, governments, and environmental groups are demanding greater accountability. A partnership that prioritizes sustainability could not only meet these expectations, but also set a precedent for others to follow. Another layer to this story is technological collaboration. Japan's expertise in battery technology is world-renowned, and by aligning with Canada's resource base, the two countries can accelerate innovation. This could lead to breakthroughs in battery efficiency, longevity, and cost, developments that would have far-reaching implications for industries worldwide. Electric vehicles, for example, could become more affordable and accessible, speeding up the transition away from fossil fuels. Renewable energy systems could store power more effectively, making them more reliable and widespread. Even emerging technologies like grid-scale storage and advanced electronics could benefit. As this partnership unfolds, it's also likely to influence trade dynamics. New supply routes will emerge, investment flows will shift, and economic relationships will evolve. Countries that once dominated certain segments of the market may find their positions challenged, while new players rise to prominence. The human element is also worth considering. This deal will create jobs, drive regional development, and open up new opportunities in both countries. From mining communities in Canada to manufacturing hubs in Japan, the impact will be felt on the ground, not just in boardrooms and government offices. Yet, as with any major shift, there are challenges ahead. Scaling up production, building infrastructure, and navigating regulatory frameworks will require careful planning and cooperation. Market volatility, technological hurdles, and geopolitical tensions could all play a role in shaping the outcome. Despite these uncertainties, the direction is clear. The Canada-Japan Lithium Partnership represents more than just a business agreement. It's a strategic alignment that reflects the changing priorities of a world in transition. Energy, technology, and security are becoming increasingly interconnected, and those who understand this are moving quickly to secure their positions. As the global demand for lithium continues to rise, the importance of partnerships like this will only grow. They are not just about meeting current needs, but about anticipating future challenges and opportunities. In this sense, Canada and Japan are not just reacting to change, they are helping to define it. The coming years will reveal just how transformative this partnership can be. If successful, it could serve as a model for others, demonstrating how collaboration, innovation, and strategic thinking can reshape industries and economies. It could also mark the beginning of a new era in which critical resources are managed not just for profit, but for long-term stability and progress. For now, one thing is certain. The power dynamics of the global lithium market are shifting, and this deal is at the heart of it. What started as a quiet announcement is quickly becoming a defining moment, one that could influence the future of energy, technology, and international relations for decades to come. As the initial momentum of the agreement settles into implementation, a second phase begins to take shape, one that is less visible but potentially even more transformative. This is where long-term strategy replaces headline announcements, and where the true scale of the partnership starts to unfold in ways that could redefine industrial priorities across multiple continents. One of the first developments emerging from this deeper phase is the acceleration of infrastructure planning within Canada. Rail lines, processing facilities, and energy supply systems are now being evaluated not just for current capacity, but for future scalability. The expectation is no longer incremental growth, it is exponential demand. Regions that were once considered remote or underutilized are suddenly being reimagined as central nodes in a global supply chain that did not fully exist just a few years ago. At the same time, Japanese stakeholders are not limiting their involvement to financing or procurement. There is a growing push toward embedding technological ecosystems directly into Canadian operations. This includes advanced automation in mining, AI-driven resource mapping, and precision processing techniques designed to reduce waste while maximizing yield. These innovations are not just about efficiency, they are about creating a competitive advantage that can withstand price fluctuations and market uncertainty. This evolving collaboration is also beginning to influence education and workforce development. Universities and technical institutes in both countries are exploring joint programs focused on battery science, mineral processing, and sustainable engineering. Students who enter these programs today are effectively training for industries that will define the next half-century. The partnership is, in this sense, not just economic, it is generational. Meanwhile, global competitors are watching closely, and their responses are becoming increasingly assertive. Some countries are ramping up their own lithium exploration efforts, while others are tightening export controls or renegotiating existing contracts. The ripple effect is creating a more competitive and at times more fragmented global market. In this environment, the stability offered by long-term bilateral agreements like this one becomes even more valuable. There is also a financial dimension that is gaining attention. Investment funds, sovereign wealth entities, and private capital are beginning to align themselves with projects connected to this partnership. What was once considered a niche sector is now attracting mainstream financial interest. The perception of lithium has shifted from a speculative commodity to a foundational asset class tied directly to the future of energy and mobility. As capital flows increase, so does the pressure to deliver results. Timelines are tightening, expectations are rising, and stakeholders are demanding transparency and accountability. This is where governance becomes critical. Both Canada and Japan are known for their regulatory frameworks, but the scale and complexity of this partnership will test those systems in new ways. Ensuring that projects move forward efficiently without compromising environmental or social standards will be a delicate balancing act. On the environmental front, new technologies are being introduced to minimize the ecological footprint of lithium extraction. Water usage, land disruption, and emissions are all under scrutiny. Pilot projects are already exploring methods such as direct lithium extraction, which could significantly reduce the environmental impact compared to traditional mining. If successful, these methods could become the new standard, not just in Canada, but globally. The partnership is also beginning to intersect with broader energy strategies. As renewable energy capacity expands, the need for reliable storage solutions becomes more urgent. Lithium-ion batteries remain the dominant technology in this space, and securing a steady supply of materials is essential for scaling up. By aligning resource extraction with battery production, Canada and Japan are effectively closing the loop, creating a more integrated and resilient system. In parallel, there is a growing recognition that lithium is only one piece of a larger puzzle. Other critical minerals such as cobalt, nickel, and rare earth elements are also essential for modern technologies. The success of this partnership could pave the way for similar agreements covering a wider range of resources. This would further strengthen the strategic alignment between the two countries and expand their influence in the global market. As these layers of collaboration deepen, the narrative around energy independence is being redefined. It is no longer about self-sufficiency in isolation, but about building reliable networks of trusted partners. In this context, the Canada-Japan relationship stands out as a model of how shared interests and mutual trust can create a foundation for long-term stability. Public perception is another factor that is beginning to play a more prominent role. As awareness of critical minerals grows, so does interest in where they come from and how they are produced. Transparency initiatives, community engagement programs, and sustainability reporting are becoming integral to maintaining public support. Both countries understand that long-term success depends not just on economic outcomes, but on social legitimacy. There are also subtle shifts occurring within corporate strategies. Companies that were once focused solely on production are now investing in vertical integration, seeking to control multiple stages of the supply chain. This approach reduces risk and increases resilience, but it also requires significant capital and coordination. The partnership provides a framework within which such strategies can be pursued more effectively. At the geopolitical level, the implications continue to expand. Alliances are being reassessed, trade routes are being reconsidered, and the concept of resource security is taking on new urgency. The partnership sends a clear signal that cooperation between resource-rich and technology-rich nations can create powerful synergies. It also highlights the importance of aligning economic goals with strategic priorities. As months turn into years, the success of this initiative will be measured not just in output volumes or financial returns, but in its ability to adapt. Markets will evolve, technologies will advance, and new challenges will emerge. The flexibility built into the partnership, its emphasis on innovation, collaboration, and long-term thinking, may prove to be its greatest strength. In many ways, this is still the early stage of a much larger transformation. The decisions being made now will shape supply chains, industries, and even geopolitical relationships for decades to come. What started as a bilateral agreement is gradually becoming a cornerstone of a broader shift toward a more interconnected and strategically aligned global economy. And as this transformation continues, the significance of the Canada-Japan lithium partnership becomes increasingly clear. It is not just about securing a resource, it is about redefining how nations collaborate in an era where energy, technology, and security are inseparable. The power shift that has begun is not sudden or dramatic, but it is steady, deliberate, and far-reaching, with consequences that will continue to unfold long into the future.